Hello, everyone. Welcome to part two of the interviewing series that we've got lined up for you guys to get to know myself and Laura. Last time we had Laura interviewing me with some crazy questions. I don't know where you came up with them. That was some crazy stuff. But so this week I'm going to be paying back the favor, and I hope she has as much joy as I did in recording that. All right, so let's get started into it. So pretty much, I think we could probably start with your background. Where is it that you come from?
Where is the land that I'm from? Where is this place? I'm originally from Pasto, Colombia. So that Pasto is a city located in the southwest of Colombia. It's 2 hours away from the border of Ecuador. So the city where I'm from is like surrounded by mountains. We actually have the most active volcano in South Colombia. So I'm from a very exotic and just beautiful place. Pretty cold there.
Incredible, yeah. Have you ever seen a volcano erupting?
Yeah, it has erupted actually, but it's not like explosion of lava. I have never seen that, but there was like just dust and it was
ash
like
and stuff.
that sort of explosion.
Crazy.
Yeah, ash.
And then what happens? Like, do they clear the town or?
Yeah, well, there's like evacuation process sort of thing, and like you have to leave buildings, and like if the ash is like actually falling, you have to gather everyone in like a space with like shelter and like coverage, so people don't obviously get that on them.
So from Pasto, Colombia to Australia, tell us a bit more about that journey. How did that happen?
Well, my parents always encouraged me and my brother to learn a second language, to sort of like go out to explore the opportunities we had. They just thought it was really valuable for us to know 2 languages and to sort of like explore the world and like different cultures. They thought that would really like benefit us for our development as people. So when I was in grade 11, or like even before that, I wanted to learn a second language. I saw the benefits from it, and I saw how much fun my brother was having in Australia in particular, and how exciting that experience of like, I guess, leaving home sort of was, because obviously it's not like exciting, but it opened so many opportunities. I felt like the motivation, and I wanted to give it a go. So that's the reason why I migrated to Australia, to learn English mainly.
Wow, and then ended up learning so much more. But I mean, I'm just curious to know, was that something that you felt was that the push to move to a different country and learn, was that something that you agreed with, or at the time it was just something your parents wanted you to do, so you were like, let me try this out?
I feel like I always wanted to do it, yeah. So the year when I moved to Australia, my dad and my grandma died, my mom's mother. So it was sort of like we had already planned that with my parents, and I was very happy, just excited, and I always felt fortunate to have the opportunity to migrate to a different country so young. And I saw that some of my friends back home had done it while they were in school, so I saw how just fun and adventurous that was, like just exploring another side of the earth, and just getting to know different people. I was always very interested to sort of like go on a similar experience. So yes, I wanted to do it, and then because it was a pretty tough year, like emotionally, it sort of like helped me have some hope for change in my life, and just to pursue more opportunities, and sort of like it helped me just change the sceneries.
Okay, that's so you were wide-eyed and full of excitement, happy to see the world. What was your biggest, I guess, fear in terms of, like, you were what, 17 at the time?
Yeah, I was 17. Yeah, so I think probably at the time would have been like just traveling on my own, you know, because I had never caught a plane for 24 hours. Well, it's a really long flight. Yeah,
it's like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, because Australia is so far. But obviously, like, I was really scared of, like, starting from zero, like, not knowing anyone. I was fortunate that my brother was already in Australia with his wife. They made me feel part of their family always, like, from day one. They even, like, went and picked me up. So it felt really nice to come to a different country and have that family support still there. So I think, the most challenging and scary bit was just like coming here.
That must have been.
Jumping on a plane.
Could have done that. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. But okay, so you came here. You came here primarily to learn English. I mean, yeah, well, safe to say you nailed that. But how did you end up then in engineering? Like,
thank you so much. So when I was in school, I was always interested in like mathematics and like physics. My numerical skills, as we know, weren't like the topmost, or like they weren't like the greatest. But I was always interested. Like my dad had like a big influence. He spoke about engineering careers to me in the past, and he was an engineer himself. So I feel like having that exposure to science and just inventions was really life-changing for me. Like, it helped me make a decision. And when I came to Australia, I sort of figured it out because I was paying attention to all the infrastructure in the city of Brisbane. Like, I was actually paying attention to the highways, the way the bridges were built or like supported. Really weird, but I don't know, it's just like it caught my attention. Stormwater systems, stormwater systems really caught my attention. Like, I saw that the water was flowing differently on the roads. I know it sounds nerdy, but I actually saw this.
That's fascinating. No one thinks of looking at this.
Well, it wasn't
drainage system when it's raining. So like, what's it like back home that made you more inclined to look at?
I think there was. It's not that I'm saying that in Colombia we didn't have these things, but it was just more advanced. It was like technology and like the way roads were built. Like, I come from a city, like we have probably like 500,000 inhabitants. The infrastructure is different. Like, we don't have highways around like the city, you know, like in here you can jump on a highway anywhere, sort of thing.
Would you say that the influence came primarily through your dad exposing you to science, engineering?
Yeah, I think
early?
so. Yeah. So, funny story. Okay, I'm just going to share this because I think it gives a lot of context. In Colombia, the curriculum for schools is pretty different. Like, you have like 12 compulsory subjects. Like, you don't get to pick what you want to do. Whereas in here, I think you can pick. Like, if you wanted to do psychology, you could, which is really cool. But in Colombia, you have like your basic compulsory subjects. And I was interested in like chemistry, physics, mathematics. I don't know, I really enjoy the classes. My dad was an engineer himself, and any time that I had any questions related to physics or algebra, I would come to him. I remember that he bought this like massive whiteboard, and he put it like he put it up on his office on the wall, and he was like, okay, I'm gonna teach you. He actually did that just to teach me. So nice, like, of him, like, super nice. Like, that's a beautiful memory that I have. He wasn't the most patient person. Like, he would get a little bit frustrated at the fact that I didn't understand algebra. And I remember that was sort of like my introduction to science, you know. I remember him, like, he was pretty much like, this is just an example, obviously this is not literally what happened, but he would be like, so Lau, what is 2 plus 2? And I'll be like, 3. And he'll be like, no, Laura Sofia, it's not 3. So he would actually get pretty mad. Good memories with him. But yeah, his influence played a big role, because I think after all those lessons, he sort of like wanted me to appreciate that science and mathematics and physics weren't hard. And yeah, Mom was always more in the writing or analytical, like politics sort of like side, or like human rights. So I was exposed to different, I guess, subjects from both like ends. So it was like science, and then my mom was a little bit more like focused on social work and like human rights.
That explains your interest in psychology, and I mean, more on that later.
We could say that.
It's so incredible, just because like we're going to talk about this more, but we talked about it in our last session as well, where, you know, exposure to STEM for younger girls especially is what makes them being more open to entering that field later on, and you're literally a prime example of that.
Yeah, 100%. So that was before a teacher had made that comment, actually. Everything happened before then, and I remember that when I was in grade 10, that was pretty much when the teacher probably made that comment, and I was like, oh, maybe yes, I should like pursue my artistic sort of side, like photography, media, and communication. So that's when I was like a little bit unsure. I wasn't committed to one industry yet, but came to Australia, and I was like, probably I've always had this in my head, might as well just follow it. And yeah, at the time TEB was offering that course that made it easier for me to sort of like study like a higher education sort of course, because going to uni in Australia is really expensive as an international student. So I was sort of like I was looking for a high quality course, like higher education type of course, and that was really good because it taught me really good skills that I use until today.
Yeah. So like, what were you? That was in your first year coming here, was it?
Well, I finished my English course in 2016. I think it was in June or like late May, and I enrolled and I started at TAFE in July.
Yeah, and then how soon after that were you already working in the industry?
1 year after that. So I started in 2016, and then 1 year later in 2017, I was already starting as a civil engineering technician. It was actually
that
really
is
funny.
insane. Tell us a bit about that story. Yeah,
Yeah.
I want the viewers to hear this. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. It's such a it's a good story. So basically, whilst I was studying at TAFE, I was working as a waitress. I remember that my manager at the time, he shared with me that I think in the past he had been like a recruiter for engineering firms. And he had some contacts in the infrastructure and like development industry sort of thing. He helped me to build my CV and to make it look professional. Then after that, he was like, yeah, I have some contacts, like let me know if you need anything sort of thing. And eventually I remember that he was like, hey Lau, like we have this soccer game at the recruiting company are playing, and I think it would be very good if you came and played with us. But my understanding was that I was going to be playing with like, I don't know, like in a sort of like a mix kind of team. But when I show up there, I was pretty much playing, I think I was the only girl, and I was playing with like all these guys that were obviously older than me, and I was like, oh my god, this is so intimidating. At the end we like lost because I was like a bad goalkeeper, but I tried my best. And I tried my best to be a good goalkeeper, but it was a tough game. And I remember that at the end we went back to the bar where we worked. And then I sat down with the recruiter, and he was like, oh, I actually think I know someone that is looking for a drafts person. And I was like, amazing. Like, I just gave him my CV and like gave him my contacts. And I literally left without any expectations whatsoever. Like, to me, I was like, great. Like, I just made myself get out of my comfort zone sort of thing. Then, like, I'm not joking, like 2 weeks later, or perhaps less, I got a call from Arab. And they were like, oh, we're looking for a civil engineering technician like that has zero experience in the industry. Would you like to come for a chat? And I was like, oh my god, yes. But I had zero idea of what the organization was and what it was about. They asked me if I knew, and I was like, no, I've never heard of them. But little did I know that it was like a massive
yeah, like that's for anyone listening who's unaware, like that's not a small deal to come out of a soccer game.
I know.
What, top 20 engineering firms in the world.
I know, and I love my time there. I got to meet you there, and I'm going to be very grateful for that. And obviously for all the projects and all the skills land, of course.
Yeah. But like, then would you say that, like, how much would you attribute that, I suppose, to your, you know, putting yourself out of your comfort zone? There is that, but then there must be like a big role to play of having a mentor. Like we can say that your old boss.
Yeah, my old boss. Yeah. He was indeed. And I remember that he was probably the most caring boss that I had in the hospitality industry. Like he actually cared about his staff, and he would help not only me, like he would help everyone. He would be happy to sort of like collaborate with his team to sort of like make them progress in whatever fields they wanted, regardless if that meant that he had to let go some really amazing staff members, you know. And I really admire that, and I just really admire that.
So like now that you see the benefit of having a mentor, do you actively seek out mentors in the different companies that you've worked at?
I think the person who interviewed me first for my position at Arab, I would consider him a mentor in my professional career. Like he is a really good professional, and he's very, like, he's a specialist in what he does, and he has his own firm, and he's come so far, and he has provided me with really good insight about what the industry is about, but also like professional tips and advices when like making big decisions, like when leaving companies. I always come to him for advice, because I know he's been there probably, or if he hasn't, he can give me like a neutral perspective based on what I have told him that I'm interested in, like pursuing in my career. So definitely I would recommend like a mentorship program. And even if it's just not for you professional development, I feel like having someone that is a professional advising you and giving you a neutral perception of the world, or like of your problems, quotation mark, because problems,
something objective.
It's good. It's really good. It helps you understand things from a different point of view, and I feel like that's important.
Wow. Okay. That's, if we can, I suppose, in line but a bit off topic. What would you say when you first got into engineering was like your biggest surprise that was involved in this field?
Great question, Sohan. Really hard to answer on the spot, but I had some exposure to what the engineering industry was going to be like when I started my course at TAFE. I was pretty much, I think we were 4 women in total of like a 30 people class. Don't really remember very well, but I think we were only like 4 women, at least starting full time. And I just straight away noticed that we were a minority, but when I came into the industry, it was a little bit more refreshing, because I could see women in the office. There were many different female professionals, and they were all killing it. They were like leaders and in like high positions, and they were very respected, and there were many of them that were part of like committees to sort of like help retain more women, at least at the company. So it was quite refreshing in that sense. But I obviously also realized that people in engineering were had different hobbies. People were interested into gardening, into music, into cars. It was good. It was not just like everyone talking about work or just like purely technical stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. So you would be saying, I guess, that it ended up being a lot more human than you expected, in a sense.
Yes, I would say it ended up being more human than expected. I'm gonna put my voice.
Which is friggin' sick. Like, that is super cool. And I think that's pretty much what we're trying to send the message out here, is that, you know, it's not as robotic as people might be imagining it
Not
to
at
be.
all. No. It felt really good. Like, as soon as you get into the office, like people, I feel like collaboration is a massive thing, and you do get exposed when you like go to university or TAFE, in my instance. But working in a team is pretty much the most important thing, or like the most important skill that you are going to develop in the engineering industry. Everything is done with a team, and I feel like if you support, like if young professionals are supported by senior leaders or like senior professionals, it's so much more nicer and less stressful. It's like it allows you to actually enjoy their learning experience, and then you have a reference point. So yeah, everyone is trying to help each other to achieve the best results, because at the end of the day, people, when people are delivering work, it's not the individual, it's the company. So it's like a collective. So there's no reason why you should just be selfish and not help others. So it was more human than I thought.
Now, I really like that you talked about, you know, getting exposed. And I feel like that's a general theme for your whole story that you've been sharing so far. So I think what I'm really curious to know, and I'm hoping, you know, this is of value to the listeners as well, but what would be like your core values that you say that push you to go out and get this exposure, irrespective of how uncomfortable it's making you feel?
My core values when I was working, or what do you mean?
Just your core values in life that have, you know, that drive you, that make you to, even now, that drive you to be this amazing person.
I think when it comes to like values, I feel like there are so many that are part of a person's identity or like a person's life. But I think if I was to sum up to my 5 most important values, I think definitely dedication and hard work. I feel like honesty and authenticity. I'm mentioning two, lol, in one. This is great. Consistency. Oh, consistency is also another one that I actually think is really important. Um, and obviously honesty and responsibility. I feel like responsibility is the biggest one, and it's one that life keeps. It's like that lesson that life keeps teaching me in any shape or form, like in any aspect of my life. Responsibility is such a big value that we all have to have, and I feel like people sometimes don't understand the sense of it, like the extent of the word. Like, it's not just like being responsible of like, yeah, I did my homework today. No, it's actually being responsible in the sense of like, okay, I'm gonna take accountability for my life and for my rules. You know, I want to live the life I want, and I am the only person who can change things and who can make changes, change things and make changes. But you know, you get the gist of it.
You say life keeps teaching you this lesson.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you say life keeps teaching you this lesson. Give us an example.
Oh, I just feel like, you know, like
recently, yeah.
I just feel like I think I was exposed to like responsibility in this sense from a young age. I'll just go to when my dad passed away, for example. I was obviously not like, it was not my fault that something like this had happened to me, to a 17-year-old. Like, I could have seen it as like, oh wow, like life is like, he hates me, like what the fuck, like this is shit. But instead of having that approach, obviously it sucked. It was really, really hard for me and for my whole family. Like, losing family members and like grief is really difficult. But I feel I was responsible then to have made the choice of continuing to live a life that was gonna, you know, be fulfilling. Like, I made the decision to wake up every day and keep on moving and working on my dreams and focusing on me and the family members that I still had in my life. I made the decision to be present and to be grateful for another day on earth. And I think sometimes we just, unfortunately, there's days that I'm like, that things like, you know, no as severe as what happened to me when I was 17, but there's like times that I am like, why did this happen to me? And I'm like, no, that's not the good mindset that I have learned throughout time. It's, how can I learn from this, and what are the lessons here for me? Or like, even when a small problem presents itself to me, I'm like, okay, is there anything I can do to change this? If so, I'll do it. If there is not, I'll be like, okay, I just can't do anything about it. I just have to move on, sort of thing. And I feel like people sometimes get fixated in the fact of like, okay, this is shit. Like, life is too shit. I don't know how to explain it better.
No, that makes, and that goes towards your dedication and consistency.
Yeah, and I think it's a lesson that we are all learning every day, and it's just like, it's like life keeps throwing these things at you, but then you just have to, you know, be able to react positively to change. Authenticity is another one that I feel like it's so important. It's always important to be authentic to yourself, and obviously like to respect yourself and to have a better, like, know the self. I actually love that phrase. The more you know yourself and the more you know your limits and your boundaries, the better your relationships and your life is going to be.
Yeah, and how much, I suppose that's a very positive outlook, and it's really incredible that's one of the best things about me, I think, to be honest. But how much of that, like, is there external influences that have gotten you there, or it, like, your internal introspection? Or do you read more? Like, where does this come from?
Well,
all the interest in psychology?
I think obviously I have to give a massive credit to my parents and their values that I was raised with. You know, they made such a big impact on me. I feel like I was brought up with good values, and I will always be grateful for that. But then conditioning is a percentage in your life. Then you become an adult. Funny, because I sometimes don't act like an adult. An adult. I don't act like an adult. Lol. But yeah, I think I have just somehow got influenced by people that I admire. I see people that are successful and I wonder, like, what are they doing? Because everyone wants to succeed, right? It's just a matter of having implementing good systems to achieve that. And yeah, I'm very curious by nature. Like, I always wonder, I always like think about things, and yeah, curiosity, reading, and definitely my family, my foundations in my family.
Wow. We've got to have him here as well. But okay, this got really, really, I guess, deep and quite heavy. I think if I can ask you a few quick and lighter questions, how does that sound?
Yeah, it sounds good, Sohan.
So if not engineering, what would you be doing?
I reckon I would be doing something related with some career to work with people, maybe like social work or like media and communication.
Nice. Okay. And if you're if not Australia, where do you think you would have been?
I would have gone to Canada. I would have loved
Ooh,
to go
good
there.
choice. British Columbia,
but
amazing.
Yeah, closer to home, and also beautiful country, beautiful people. But the weather, I think, is too cold, and I do love like beach weather. The Gold Coast weather is the best.
That was good. You stole into my next question. I was going to ask you, best part of Australia that you feel.
Oh, that's a tough one because Australia is so beautiful. I think my favorite place here in Australia is definitely Byron Bay. I love it. I've been.
Chris Hemsworth, hey.
It is. It's because of Zac Efron. No, I'm kidding. Zac Efron, I know you left, but come back. Jokes. The beaches here in Australia are beautiful. All the East Coast beaches. The beaches. The beach. You know what I mean. Sohan.
So, favorite food?
My favorite food is, tough one, but I think my favorite food, cuisine, Italian, favorite food, burritos. Lol. You get the gist.
Okay, favorite pastime?
Going on a walk. Going on a walk actually allows my mind to, just chill. So that's good.
So outdoor sport or gym? What do you like better?
Gym.
Okay, so on a final note, thanks so much. That was quite a lot of fun. Last question I would like to leave you with is, what have you learnt so far in your, 23 years of lifetime that you'd say is the most important thing that you would really like to share with the listeners?
Always surround yourself with a good support network. Regardless of who it is, being your friends, your family, it's always so important to have people there for you, to listen to you, and always it's good to offer that to other people.
Thanks so much. It's been quite a lot of fun interviewing you.
Thank you so much.
I hope the listeners enjoyed it as much as we did.
Yes, I really hope so. See ya, everybody.
All right. Ciao.